Well, good morning. Welcome back to Talking Racine. We hope you had a lovely holiday, a lovely Easter season. It's Mr. George Myers this morning.
Morning.
Mr. Jim Spodek, and myself, Ken Jorgen. And we're going to discuss a $900,000 grant, which the City Council has been discussing about going to the RCEDC to do some jobs.
That's a Racine County Economic Development Corporation.
Right. Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. Anyway, they want to spend that money on jobs creation and training. And so we were looking at what exactly they intended to do with it. It's more for like construction jobs, you know, cement work, road work, probably some building construction. And it turns out that there's a gentleman in Racine who runs a program, and Ola, forgive me if I mispronounce your name. I believe it's Ola Beyewu. I might be wrong. But anyway, he's been doing this for 10 years. They've trained many people, and a lot of the people that they have trained are people that would be unemployable otherwise. They've either come out of prison or they've had some rehab program that they've had to go through. They're people that typically would really struggle to find an employment. This gentleman in his program pick them up and they train them. And many of them are now employed, and yeah, they're working as apprentices. I think he said, I believe he said like 40 a year.
Oh yeah, I think
40 people trained per year: electricians, plumbers, pipe fitters, carpenters.
Yeah, he does it on the job type of thing. You're not sitting around reading books, sitting in an office and hypothesizing and looking at pictures of how you do this.
No, I've seen
You're actually out on the job working on buildings,
building wheelchair ramps, and
they've got builders coming back to them asking for more people. You know, I mean, they like the program that they've got going on.
Well, I can tell you, as a property manager, I need to go knock on his door. In fact, I have in the past, because I'm looking for people that just know how to fix things around a building, you know, and there aren't a lot of people that know how to do that, and you make good money at it.
Yeah. One of the things that came up in his discussion, they lost a good part of their funding in 2013.
Right.
Now, I don't know why. I mean, there's all kinds of cutbacks going on all the time. This gentleman has worked the last 2 years without drawing a paycheck himself. Now we've got this $900,000 that's going into a jobs program, and guess what? He wasn't even contacted. He read about it in the newspaper.
And that's why
what the heck is going on? Yeah, he's a little bit. Well, he's not pissed off, but he's like, what is going on? Why have we not been contacted?
He sounded pissed off to me. Go ahead. Let's hear him.
Well, he was use those words. He was controlling himself well.
Good evening, everybody. I'm disappointed at what you guys are trying to do here. I have served this community through First Choice for over 10 years. And I read in the newspaper that this council is going to give $500,000 to Racine County Economic Development to train folks for construction work. Some of you know what we have done in this city. I was just shocked when I read in the newspaper. We have invested in this community for over 10 years. Our record speaks for itself.
Now, he was slightly angered there. He learned through the newspaper that $500,000 was going to RCEDC. Now, RCEDC are basically office workers. I don't know where they do it. He's been working in this, like he said, he's been working in the city for 10 years, and he's working on the job. He's actually training people to do these things. And you had mentioned that he's working without wages now. I mean, he's
I think
so he's almost volunteering.
He's got a board. I mean, it's legit.
And he's got. There's somebody that speaks a little later that actually has been trained by him that we might want to listen to too. But the point is they go out and they show them how to work. And I worked with one of his students, and the guy knows how to go out and put in a bathroom floor now. He can go fix a faucet, and he can actually do that type of work. So it's like. It's very valuable, and he's got a 10-year track record of doing this, and he works right. By the way, his building is right on Marquette Street. It's the old fire station on Marquette Street, in Kewanee.
Yep.
So he's right in town here, and instead of giving money to him and helping him build that up, what we're doing is we're giving it to RCEDC, which is a county organization, and apparently they're looking at getting consultants from Milwaukee to come in and do it.
For $275,000.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's just a consultant. That's above and beyond the $500,000 for training.
Consulting sounds to me like talking.
Yeah.
Sitting in the office and let's sit down and discuss it. When you're actually training, that's going out. That's not consulting. That's going out and actually working. And
I'd be offended too. I mean, he's worked hard. He's given a lot to the community. He's trained a lot of people. He's rehabilitated a lot of people into working jobs that are doing good service to the community. And he wasn't even invited to the conversation.
I think he's one of those black guys who's not well connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a possibility.
He's gonna get to the table. He's only gonna get the scraps off the table.
No, it's a shame because it sounds like he's doing a really good job, and we're turning it over to some people in an office that
wasn't going to contact somebody in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Well, and $125,000 for attorney consultations. What the heck do they need $125,000 worth of legal service for?
Who's making the money off this? Going to help the poor. Who really makes the money?
Yeah,
that's what it boils down to.
We're very transparent. We tell you what we can do. We tell you the challenges of this community. We were the first one that raised the issue of folks not having a high school diploma. 15 years ago, people didn't listen. For 5 years, we rehabilitated houses in this city. 62 properties. Made them lead safe. Built wheelchair ramps for wheelchair-bound individuals. For nothing. We use those things as a teaching tool for our students. When they reconstructed the I-94 from Kenosha County, every year we trained 40 people. 20 of them went to work as apprentices. They still work now as journeymen. We have some who are foremen, electricians, plumbers, pipe fitters, carpenters.
Yeah, 62 properties in 5 years. That's a dozen a year. That's one a month.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good clip, to be rehabilitating property.
And you're training people and doing it.
Right.
It's not just a trained crew going out and doing that. That's a long time for a trained crew to go out and rehabilitate a house. But when you're teaching people, here's how you hold a hammer, here's how you use a screw gun. That's
and here's the thing, George. I mean, he administers it. He actually gets on a job and does it. Now, I don't know, and I don't know his program totally, but there's a lot that goes into this. Not just we're going to train you and this is only the job. The money has to be handled. It has to be the property has to be acquired. All your waivers have to be done. Your building permits. There's a lot to it. A lot more than just saying, oh, you're just going to fix that porch or whatever. There's a lot to it. So he's able to and been able to successfully do that for 10 years here in the community. And to have
apparently there's $400,000 worth of more stuff that needs to be done according to this grant. People, good people, sitting around making sure that everybody's working.
Well, here
we
it
are
is.
requesting that intergovernmental funds in the allocation of $900,000 to the following: $125,000 to the city attorney's office for development and real estate related work. $275,000 to RCEDC for consulting services related to economic development. $500,000 to RCEDC to contract for worker training services to the city residents to prepare for construction-related jobs coming to the area.
All right, there you saw the beginning. $900,000 now, $250,000 for the city attorney and legal things. $125,000. I'm sorry, for the city attorney, and that's for legal work. All right, so we're putting bureaucrats to work, and then RCEDC for administrative consulting services. More.
$275,000.
And then he's going to. The next one is going to be $500,000 for actually worker training. So the point is, we've got built into this $900,000. Almost half of it is going to be oversight. In other words,
right.
It's
exactly what it is.
It's people sitting at the office and.
George, I go to these meetings. I see over and over the community block grant money and all the rest. All I see is shirts and ties, and I'm thinking everybody in here
nice
making
cars parked out front.
Everybody's making a nice wage here, except what his money was supposed to go to. It seems like everybody else has filtered it off and got their thumb in the pie.
And you got some guys working for $25 an hour if they can find work for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Now you can throw that away with Ola, you know,
Yeah.
and maybe give him. You don't even have to give him 500,000. I bet you gave him
I think
100,000.
he worked on 300 grand that he did. I don't know how much he did, and then he cut his funding, and he was managed to find funding somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the guys, you know, like I say, I don't know.
You should
his
at
program.
least have talked to him. I mean, that is the height of discourtesy to ignore somebody like that within your community.
Well, I don't know about that. It sounds to me like a good old boy system.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Not that
okay,
much
well,
courtesy.
wait a minute.
You're just being courteous to the right people.
Oh, God, yeah. I forgot.
This is how it works. You know, when they talk about white privilege, this is what we're talking
There
about.
we go.
Here.
Yeah.
This is it.
Everyone will be at the table, as it was mentioned before, that, well, this one of the speakers, they will be involved. Everyone will be at the table.
One of the speakers. Did you hear that? One of the speakers. He doesn't even know the guy's name. The guy's
doesn't
been
care.
serving the community for 10 years.
They don't
And
care.
he told him who he was at the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know. It probably didn't get through that hat that he's wearing.
Well, that's a Boy Scout hat. He's campaigning now. Remember, he had a Boy Scout troop 50
I thought
years
it was
ago.
illegal to campaign at the
It
city
is.
hall.
Apparently, listen, George, nothing, everything's free for all here in Racine. There's no against the law. What the hell?
They announced it right at the beginning. You're not campaigning.
No, he's wearing his Boy Scout hat because he can talk about his Boy
It's
Scout.
subliminal campaign.
RCEDC, there was a question as what they will do. We'll have a development of a memorandum of understanding / contract. There will be quarterly update. Currently, there's about $3.1 million in the in cash in the funds, and if this proposed grant will go through, we anticipate by the end of 2018 that we'll have $2.74 million running by the end of calendar year 2018.
Now there you got bureaucratic arithmetic.
Yeah.
We're going to start with 3.1 million now. We're going to take 900,000 out, and then we'll be left with 2.74 million.
It's subliminal calculation. That means it's coming into the back of your head. You're not really paying close attention, but when you get down to the final figure, oh,
It
this
sure
is all
sounds
right.
good. Well, that didn't cost
Started
us
out with
much.
3.1, and we're going to end up with 2.74. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, the fact of the matter is money will be coming into the fund during the course of the year. Probably a lot more than the difference here, but they're going to be spending it ongoingly.
Right. But he baited it. You know, it's like, well, by the end of 2018, well, what's
We're
it,
taking it now,
March,
but by
yeah?
the end of next year, it'll be back up.
Yeah, it'll be back up. So don't worry about that money that we
he left out
900.
back up.
Yeah.
It'll be 2.7.
Right. Don't worry about that.
George, give me $100, and at the end of the next week, when you get your paycheck,
I'll have more money.
you'll have more money than you started out with today.
Yeah.
As you all may or may not know, that there's a situation happening at the state where there's possibilities that there will be penalties for elected officials helping out their community. And some of those penalties that apply will be a Class A misdemeanor, which can fine you $10,000 or more and can imprison you for not to exceed 9 months or both.
Okay. What he's saying there, I don't know if you. No one could explain it the way he does, but
Nobody, wait a minute. He didn't explain it, he talked about it. There's a difference.
what it means is that if you don't allocate funds, what the state is saying, let's not allocate. If we allocate funds for this, it has to go. It has to stay local. It can't be.
It's got to be used the way it was intended to be used, and if you don't do it,
if you don't, you could be 9 months in jail, a misdemeanor. This is some serious stuff here. Are you kidding me? You guys blew multi-millions of dollars on Machinery Row.
Yeah.
No problem there. You put up a straw man. You did all this. No problem. Now, if those funds are misappropriated on how we're going to distribute them, we could be going to, this is some serious stuff.
Well,
Right,
it's kind of a left-handed way of saying, we got to spend this money or we're going to go to jail. So we're going to spend it.
Now, here, Jeff Cole's going to talk. This may be the first time in a long time I've agreed with Jeff Cole.
Are you sure you understood him?
$1,000. I just don't know why we can't just give this money to construction companies to train employees. What kind of expertise does the RCEDC offer for worker training that companies don't offer? Why can't we, as the city here, have our staff oversee companies come in and give them money versus giving it to a third party? And the same thing for this consulting services. what are we using our staff here at City Hall for? I mean, they should be doing some of this stuff, and it doesn't sound like, it sounds like everything's being pushed off to the west end there, and I just don't like that. So
Jim, he sounds like he's speaking for you.
Well, it makes sense to me. Give it to somebody that you're going to train somebody for this job. You know, we all work construction at one time, and concrete. If you're laying, I mean, that you don't even have to have a brain, really. You know, here you have to have a strong back, 2 arms, and 2 legs.
Brain kind of gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just lay it down and start.
Well, I remember I was in high school. That was a nice summer job for us. You know, we could go out and make that extra money, a lot more than we could have working in an ice cream parlor or something around town. But we could go out and get a construction job, and now you were making, I shouldn't give the price, it was $2 an hour, but that was a lot of money back in the 50s.
Right.
But we were just high school kids. We weren't trained for anything. We were just trained to read books.
There's no training. There's no super training that needs to be done on road construction. I mean, it's back-breaking hot work.
Yeah.
Bottom line, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's hard labor.
I mean,
really
and you bring in the engineers and you bring in the surveyors and different things. Yeah, those guys have some training, but these aren't going to be the guys that are going out there. These are the guys that are going to stake it, lay out concrete, grade. I mean, that's the type of stuff. It doesn't take a lot of training to do this kind of stuff.
But I like what he said about. Now he mentioned there's money going out to the West End. I'm presuming he's talking about RCEDC, right? Because they're out in the county. See, so we're sending money out there instead of keeping it in town with IRA, OLA. So the I agree with the alderman here on this account.
He's right. Jeff comes from a kind of a probably construction machinery shop background. He understands it. I mean, you walk in a building, a shop, a construction site, they're going to take you and train you. I mean, if you're not trainable, you're going to go out the door. But nobody walks in there knowing exactly what they're going to do on any job. And if you give them a little stipend for the contractor to say, could you hire this pool of people we have here in Racine, that's how it should be handled. We don't have to spend $275,000 with some consulting fee and some desks.
$125,000 to the city attorney.
Yeah, I mean, it just gets
make sure all the legalities.
Like, who's making the money here, George? This is where it goes. Who's siphoned off all that money? It's already being siphoned off. Yeah. You can imagine when we're talking about $4.5 billion. Where that money's actually going to end up. This is a free-for-all, man.
Where is this $4.5 billion?
Well, state of Wisconsin and Foxconn. Can you imagine this is all what it's about?
I'm stuck on that $3.5 billion figure. Every once in a while I forget that they gave it a little $1 billion boost there. It's up to $4.5 billion. Yeah, that's great.
But the point is Cole has made a good point here.
Yeah.
And that is, I mean, it's so darn obvious. You got a guy that's been doing this. He's showing he's successful in doing it. You got some extra money. You want to boost something up there. Put it there. Why are you putting it to all these people in shirt sleeves and ties and
well, spending it with people you don't know. Then you got to hire supervisors to make sure that they're doing the thing that you're hiring them to do or paying them to do. So you got to pay the supervisor to oversee them instead of giving some money to the guy that's already proven trustworthy.
Yeah, and he put right on the job training.
And there's probably more. There's probably more out there. How are you looking? This is not about. This is a club. It's been a club. Yeah. It'll continue to be a club.
Speaking of clubs,
yes, sir.
A co-op is kind of a club in a way, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And there was also a discussion about money being given to Wild Root Co-op, food co-op.
Right.
And the amount of money that they were planning on giving was, I believe, just $250,000, a grant.
Well, in this particular meeting, they had made a recommendation that the Wild Root should go out and get a grant for that they could approve them to go and apply for a $250,000 grant. I'm not exactly sure where it was, but one of the things on the agenda for the RDA this coming April, I believe it's April 5th, is that Wild Root is asking for $390,000. Guess where? Out of the intergovernmental fund. Now we just had a brewery take $174,000. Now, hey man, well, if they can do it, we can do it. So now they're coming in asking for $390,000 from the intergovernmental fund.
Well, this is a different kind of co-op than I'm used to seeing. I mean, I like the concept. I'm pleased with what they're presenting as a goal, but this is not the way I've seen co-ops. I mean, if you go to the Mifflin Street Co-op up in Madison, there was a East Street Co-op down in St. Louis when I lived down there, It was really people in the neighborhood getting together, and they'd get an old building, they'd get some tables, they'd get a bunch of volunteers, a bunch of people would work there, and part of the co-op was if you put in hours and work there, you got a discount on your food. You know, and there was a schedule. People weren't paid typically; they were compensated. They volunteered, and you got a discount on your food. This seems to be an entirely different model of a co-op. This is like creating a pool of money by people joining the co-op and creating a pool by which they can rehab a building, buy all kinds of equipment, hire people to full-time jobs. It's a lot different than what I'm accustomed to seeing.
7,700, yeah, 7,700 square feet.
Yeah, it's huge. Well,
now,
it's not as big as some of these gigantic supermarkets.
Well, exactly,
I mean,
but you know, well, here's the thing. They're putting it on Walton Avenue. One of the things is it's a food desert. Well, hell, it's right over by the zoo. I mean, it's a food desert over there, then people are starving or what? You know, I mean, come on. I mean, you know...
It's a food desert maybe down in the center of the city, but you're up there, you got Piggly Wiggly up there, you go a little bit further, you got Pick and Save.
Well, they've looked around, too, for property, though. I mean, they looked at the old Piggly Wiggly on Grove Avenue in West Racine, which has become a bit of a food desert over in that area. But that building is really unusable.
You know, I'm going to tell you, though, you sometimes go in the inner city, and I'll be honest with you, you go to some of these little grocery stores, which I do, because there's certain things I look for. There's some great product. I mean, there's produce. I mean, Hamilton and Vince runs it. Hamilton and Memorial. Just jump in that grocery store. That's a great little grocery store, and there's no food desert in there. It's plenty of vegetables, plenty of fruit. You know.
Yeah, when I'm talking about food desert, I'm talking about a big supermarket.
Yeah.
There's no big supermarket.
No.
You go down to
but you know,
close to Douglas and Hamilton. There's a little Racine supermarket down there.
Save a lot.
It's a little. Well, not to Save a Lot. This is a little. It's
Save a Lot's up on the state.
It's right on Douglas Avenue.
But I guess the thing is, they're asking for 390. We'll see how it goes from the intergovernmental fund. I mean, who picks the winners and losers in business? I guess that's what it comes to. We support the brewery. We just gave them $175,000. Now we're going to give almost $400,000 to Wild Root Market. I mean, we gave money to Visioning Racine. What's the next one?
Here's the problem. You're working at the wrong end of the economic cycle on those. And when you're going in and you're subsidizing food markets, you're not really doing growth. Whereas when you're subsidizing like building activity, like we were talking about before with Ola and building, working, improving housing and stuff. That's a much better economic growth as opposed to going on and working on the consumption end of the economic cycle. So. Fortunately, breweries got possibilities, but a food store just just what.
Well, they're talking about it serving as an economic catalyst, spurring new micro businesses. They were talking about a dozen businesses being created off of the energy that's going to manifest from this project. I don't know where they would go over there. I mean, that's not a real. Business-oriented district. It's pretty much a neighborhood. That's the old Walton Clinic over there that they're talking about relocating to, or opening in. To subsidize something where you're going to go buy food. I like the idea of a co-op. I'm not sure that government subsidy. They depend. Well, they've been working on this since 2009.
Well, consumption activities depend on a population around the area that has money to spend. All right,
absolutely.
Because so you can go buy things there. Just like I'm in property management. You come in to get an apartment from us. You got to have credit. You got to have money. Right. You got to show some responsibility. You go into a job like Ola's looking at, where you're going to go out and do work. You don't have to have any money to go to work for him.
Right, exactly.
You can be totally broke and still go get a job there. Come on in, yeah.
There's no
as long as you're willing to work, you got a thing to go.
2 arms, 2 legs, and a good back.
But in fairness, we're talking about subsidizing him too, his program.
Well, all I'm saying is though that he's a builder. He takes people that are broke and puts money in their pocket. A person at the consumption end takes the money out of your pocket and says, "Here, go home and enjoy what you bought here." And that's all I'm saying. It's a different kind of activity.
Well, they're talking about creating 40 jobs here, but I mean,
here's the thing.
Ola is creating like 40 jobs a year.
Well, when you're working, if you're going to succeed as a consumption type of business, you need to have people around you that have money to come and buy from you.
Exactly.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
And-
This is not a kind of grocery
And when you're
store.
when you're going to subsidize that, well, that's fine to subsidize it, but the real kicker to it is the people around that are going to come into your place and have money in their pocket so they can go there and shop and buy things.
All right, here's the thing, George. This is going to be a grant. They're just going to basically give the money to them. I have a real problem with this whole who we're going to give. What's the next business we're going to give it to? Now they're saying they're going to get sales. They're generating 5 to 6 million in annual sales. I don't see that. I ran a grocery store. I just don't see it in that location. I just don't see it. You know. I mean, it's just it's a lot.
Where are the consumers? There
Well,
have
that's
to be
the thing.
consumers around there
Who's
to
running
buy
it?
things.
You know, I mean, what kind of
And
5 to 6?
you've got a Piggly Wiggly. You got
Yeah. Listen, this is how consumption works, and especially in Racine. You only have so many. You can only eat so much food. So you're
Right.
going to rob somebody else of that sales. So you go to
Yeah.
Piggly Wiggly. Are you going to be able to rob from the Piggly Wiggly enough sales to make your co-op work, or from whatever type grocery stores around? Just because you're located there doesn't mean, well, I'm closer. It doesn't mean that they're not going to go to Woodman's or to the I-94 or whatever. People travel, and that doesn't mean that those sales are going to come to that co-op. Something special, start out small and grow into it. $390,000, a big hit. And when you go to a bank and you get $390,000, they want your firstborn on your loan application. I mean, it's just, to me, stay out of this whole.
And you brought up something that's really critical there. You know, if this is going to be a loan, you know, the government does very poorly in making sure that person is going in there going to be able to pay on that loan. They're just terrible.
Well,
at
this is
it.
a grant, I think. I think they're just
Yeah.
going to give
Right.
it
If you're just going to give them the money, okay, then
Pushed off to the west end there, and I just.
that's fine. If we just want to throw our money at that, and we're not worried about there's a better place to put it.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it's going to happen, but I think you know, we need to keep our eye on it and see
Well,
what
we'll see,
develops out of it. I
Right.
mean, they're talking about spurring a lot of economic activity and creating jobs as a result
Well,
of this. And, you know, I want to see it.
If I'm going to give money, I'd give it to Ola. At least I know what I got coming. This is too speculative. Okay,
Yeah.
I think we got Mason was going to do a veto. You want to explain it? Do you want me to?
On the Azarian issue,
Yeah.
yeah, there was a meeting of the Planning Commission, and Sam Azarian and his wife came in to speak to the Planning Commission. They believed, and if they believed it, I think it's probably true. I mean, they're not BSers. That they were going to be allowed to speak to this meeting and address what their concerns are regarding this trailer that they have on property over on the corner of Memorial and High
Street.
Yeah, around the back. It's right next to the old Racine Steel Castings building. We made a reference to it in the last show. And they've been upgrading it. They've spent $5,000 on plumbing, and they've got a plan to redo the whole area in what they think is a nice way. But the Planning Commission has said, no, we want this, we want this, we want this. Concrete walls have to be so high, colors have to be this. The parking lot has got to be paved and striped, yada, yada, yada. And I mean, it's next to a desolate former factory site, and the whole neighborhood is run down. So what the Azarians are going to do there is really going to uplift that whole area. Anyway, they came in to talk, and they were shouted down, basically. The mayor hammered them down and says, no, this is not a public discussion time, even though they had been led to believe that it would be. So now, the Development Committee decided to refer it to the Committee of the Whole.
Well, to the Common Council, which then Meekma.
Oh, you're right. It went to the Common Council, and then the Common Council decided to send it to the Committee of the Whole, which is the Common Council under a different name, and it's a less formal setting. And then the mayor vetoed that move and says, no, we should send it back to the Development Committee.
Right.
And apparently, the Azarians will finally get something to say about what they're going to do over there.
Well,
I would hope.
what I'm going to play here is in the Common Council meeting, this last one, Ray DeHaan, Alderman DeHaan, says, we don't look real friendly to businesses in this community.
Yeah, what can we do about that?
So Mayor Mason explains, well, let's speed this along so we can help these good people out. You know, which they
speed it along. I mean, this has been dragging on for months.
I mean, this is why you get a bad reputation. You want to know why? Well, here it is.
Yeah, here you're seeing the barriers to coming in and starting a
right.
business.
I mean, this has been going on since, I think, October, November last year.
So is this going to be the, are they going to watch this after we say goodbye, or?
Well, they can. Yeah, they might as well. Why not?
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Just watch the rest of it.
Yeah,
It
we'll
explains itself.
leave that as a closer. Have a wonderful Monday. We'll see you next week, and enjoy the clip on the Azarians.
Don't forget to vote for tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. Get out tomorrow and vote. Yeah, thank you, George, for that reminder.
Uh-huh.
The only problem I have with it, I support Oviedo, but we come off looking not business friendly, and somehow we got to overcome that. That's all I want to say.
So, Alder Weiser, do you want to comment on the timing of this in terms of its appearance with, so just if I can respond to your comment, Alder DeHaan, this action today will allow resolution to come sooner rather than later on this. So we're hoping to find resolution through the sitting planning commission so that when next you meet, instead of it being a 2-month delay of going to the committee of the whole and the full city council, that we'll have resolution sooner rather than later.
All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. We're not in public hearing, I'm sorry.
You were told that this would be a public hearing.
You told us the last meeting, this was deferred to a public meeting so we could speak.
Start over. That's what you told us.
And then, in the meantime, they had a 29-page report against us, and nothing, we don't have anything to say about that 20, and there's false information in that report. And I can show people, I got right here, I can give everybody a report, a rebuttal, on what he put in that 29-page report. So you referred this thing, or deferred it, to today so that I could speak or people could speak in our favor. Now when we get here, we can't speak. And it's all I ask. I don't ask to speak. What I ask is, before everybody does, I wish they could read what I have, and they can make their, I'll respect any decision they have, but let them know the truth.